sponsored by the Degama Group.
Welcome to Rumbo Mineros. My name is Cesar Campos, and today I will be hosting the program alongside our producer, Miguel Zavala. How are you, Miguel? Good to be with you. Well, today, as we had promised in the last edition, we will have a comprehensive summary of what the 9th edition of Expomina has been like this year. This time dedicated to APEC, with the organization of activities and some displays, extraordinary aspects that illustrate the dynamism of the mining sector.
That's right, Cesar. We are going to present the first part of this special. Next week, we will present the second part as well, because there is still a lot to do to display at this fair mining matters.
A significant event on a global scale was held from September 11 to 13 at the Convention Center from the Jockey Club. Additionally, we will conduct an interview with Dr. Pedro Gamio, who was a member of Mr. Oliver Starr's board at the state-owned company Petroperu, to ITA. The truth, Miguel, we are currently engulfed in uncertainty about the fate of the state firm, not just because of about who might take the reins to move forward or backward, because what is happening is truly terrible.
We have presented several proposals to different boards, but so far there is no decision from the government. And even within it, there are struggles over what the future should be.
We will talk with Pedro Gamio specifically about the restructuring proposal he presented to the board led by Oliver Starr and the political interests that also intertwine with this. All this and much more is coming up in Rumbo Minero. Over to Gabriela Chicoma with the main mining news of the year.
These are the main mining news of the week.
In the next 3 years, the construction of at least 4 new projects will begin in the south: Corania in Puno, Tia Maria and Safranal in Arequipa, and Los Calatos in Moquegua. In this context, Julio Cáceres, head of the Arequipa Chamber of Commerce and Industry, estimated that this will lead to the establishment of around 200 new supplier companies to meet the new demand from future mining companies. The Lima Chamber of Commerce warned about the enormous cost that Petro represents for Peruvians, which includes the recent issuance of Decree Thetes of the Lima Chamber of Commerce, which establishes extraordinary and urgent measures in economic and financial matters to overcome the financial situation of the company public. The business group indicated that the amount of money owed by the state company is equivalent to 1.6% of GDP. 7% of the public budget for 2025, and 26.4% of the public investment budget for 2025.
Thank you very much to Gabriela Chicoma for the main mining news of the week as we had announced. We present to you the first delivery of the summary of what was the 9th edition of Expomina 2024, under APEC's auspices, the key mining event of the year. Please continue.
From September 11 to 13, Expomina Peru 2024 was the focal point of mining, gathering key representatives for 3 days from both local and international sectors. The opening ceremony had the participation of Expomina Peru's president, Luis Rivera, and Jorge León Benavides, executive president of Grupo Degama, the energy and mines minister, Rómulo Mucho, and Ana Spielberg, Deputy Assistant Secretary for Energy Resources at the U.S. State Department, as the invited mining country representative. All of them were accompanied by attendees of the fair, as well as important representatives from both the public and private mining sectors. Jorge León Benavides welcomed the guests and emphasized the importance of the fair as part of the development of 2 international meetings, like the High-Level Dialogue on Mining and the Mining and Sustainability Forum of the Americas.
This indicates that Expomina will have 2 global summits in one event, an unprecedented fact in the realm of mining events worldwide. So, thank you for supporting these 2 organizations.
On another note, he discussed the opportunities available in mining for the country.
We have many chances in the mining sector. Peruvian, I believe we are at about 20% of what we could truly achieve. We have extreme poverty and poverty. and our resources lie buried in the earth. And that is unfortunate, and that is what we face. The only way to improve is to agree among all Peruvians. It is unfair that we have mining projects delayed or projects that last over 20 years to advance. We need to accept our collective fault as Peruvians. We must engage in conversation and improve dialogue among all Peruvians to boost Peruvian mining, our strongest sector. It is one of the strongest sectors in Peru, especially since mining resources, which is one of the few sectors that can develop quickly if we get all our projects going. We can rapidly experience a mining boom. We have first-rate companies that carry out significant projects, not just in modern mining, but also have a strong dialogue with their communities. And these are the things we need to replicate throughout Peruvian mining. Illegal mining is advancing too quickly, and we need to address this once and for all. Know who wants to legalize and who does not, because we cannot continue to exploit and ruining the environment as is happening with illegal mining.
Luis Rivera, Executive Vice President of Goldfields Las Americas and President of Expomina Peru 2024, pointed out that Peru is a mining country, and this industry plays an important role in the local economy.
If one studies Peruvian history, 2 millennia ago, there was mining activity in Peru. The Chimu culture, the Chavin culture, and the metallurgy are the best expressions of ancient mining, a mining that originates from the roots of the country, a mining that brings us to the present, because currently of the $63 billion we hold, over $45 billion come from mining. 2 out of every $3 bills circulating in this country exist because mining exports, and 50% of that export is copper. And mining also guides us to the future because it generates ecosystems in places where, due to geographic, ethnic, geological barriers, the state does not get there, cannot get there. Mining arrives, the miner arrives, whether small, medium, or large. It is an activity that ultimately guides us to the future, as it is an activity, and you can see it. Just look around. It is industry, it is power, it is technology, it is innovation, it is electronics, it is energy, but it is also a logistics system, imports, exports, financial systems, and access to capital markets that are quite limited today, and it is quite hard to reach global capital markets. Why mining matters? Because it is a responsible activity rooted in ESG principles, tied to sustainable development concepts, and integrated into the development of the society in which we operate.
In turn, the Minister of Energy and Mines, Romulo Mucho, noted that today, clean, sustainable, and responsible mining is in progress.
We are all aligned with that aim, mining with purpose, and then also, what are we looking at today? How we source materials and how we sustainably utilize these so-called resources today. Key minerals. And why critical minerals? Because the world has acknowledged that the demand for these materials will be much larger than it is now. They will multiply by 2, 3, or 4. By 2050, and if we check how much exists globally, country by country, we realize it won't be adequate. Hence, it is already labeled critical. And that's where the interest and relevance of each country and its resources becomes clear. In this sense, here in America, we have countries that can provide these resources to the globe, and thus the relevance of Peru.
They then proceeded to perform the traditional ribbon-cutting ceremony. It should be indicated that on the first day of the event, in the morning, a high-level conversation on mining was held as part of the APEC Economic Cooperation Forum. In the meeting that occurred in the Confemin room, senior mining officials deliberated on 3 pertinent topics: the significance of minerals in the energy transition, the integration of new technologies and inclusion via the participation of women and local communities and the establishment of formal artisanal and small-scale mining. This dialogue included the participation of the Minister of Energy and Mines, Romulo Mucho, as well as representatives from major world economies like Australia, Canada, the United States, China, and Russia. In the afternoon, forums on business and entrepreneurs, education and innovation, investment climate, market and prices, and the Congress commenced, green hydrogen and alternative energies. All of these took place in the 4 rooms that were set up at the fairgrounds, which were filled due to the interest generated by the topics discussed there. The opening of the international pavilions also occurred, including the one for the United States, which was the guest country at the event, where the ambassador from that country in Peru, Stephanie Zipkat Ramnath, was present. The Chile pavilion was also opened, showcasing a delegation of 27 companies supplying goods and services for mining and the energy sector. The German pavilion was also welcomed. The second day kicked off with the Mining and Sustainability Forum of the Americas, attended by important authorities from international entities and representatives from the countries involved in this part of the American continent. Meanwhile, the Pro-Chill business round was conducted in the Gold Room. That day also included forums on project portfolio and mining jobs, Peru and the future of mining, public policies in mining, and the Mantemin and Logistimine congresses. In the evening, the central cocktail of Expomina took place at Waka Puglana, attended by Minister Romulo Mucho. At the cocktail, they honored Romulo Mucho, the Minister of Energy and Mines, with a recognition to ex-Minister of Foreign Affairs Javier González Olechea, to Luis Rivera, the President of Expomina Peru this year, and also to Isabel Arias, Chair of Compañía Minera San Ignacio de Morococha. The last day of the fair kicked off with the business round, led by PromPeru, taking place in the Confemin room. The OMA Forum was held at the same time in the Silver Room, along with the Innovation, Technology, and Digitalization in Mining Forum in the Copper Room. Meanwhile, the Oil Forum in Peru took place in the Gold Room. In the afternoon session, attendees participated in the forums on social and environmental development, project management, and the Congress Procesmin. Furthermore, Luis Rivera, Executive Vice President of Goldfields Las Americas, and Ivan Arriagada gave keynote speeches, who serves as the CEO of Antofagasta PLC Minerals Chile. Finally, during the closing ceremony, the Expomina Award for Social Responsibility was given to Southern Peaks Mining for their project, Sustainable Mala. The Expomina Award for Environmental Responsibility was given to Marcobre for their Punta San Juan project, a narrative of conservation. In the meantime, the companies Komatsu, Mitsui Maquinarias, and Peru with their Tech Initiative project, the project's technical education for communities and TechnoServe with Mokewa Emerge achieved first and second place respectively in the Expomina Award for Social Responsibility, went to Southern Peaks Mining for their Project Sustainable Mala. The Expomina Award for Environmental Responsibility was also awarded to GKM Technology SAC for their project called Multipurpose Deployable and Self-Sustaining Module in Default, and Bosque Rexroad SAC for the project called Sustainable Impulse, Bosque Rexroad for a Sustainable Future. Given all that was exhibited over these 3 days, Expomina became the top mining fair in the capital. We look forward to seeing you at Expomina, Peru next year.
first recap, Miguel, surely illustrates very clearly what the dynamics of Expomina 2024 have been.
That's correct, Cesar. Nearly 1,300 booths and more than 800 national and international suppliers, and a wonderful festival of Peruvian mining.
And particularly the discussions regarding APEC's goals that thanks to this agreement made during the administration of Chancellor Javier Gonzalez Olechea with the government and also with the involvement of Minister Romulo Mucho, we managed to achieve. This exhibition series is about the Economic Forum towards the Pacific. Indeed, it was quite good. Well, let's pause and come back.
From the most isolated spots to the busiest cities, we are the energy that is 100% Peruvian, empowering the country for 2 decades. We offer energy solutions with a complete portfolio of hydrocarbons, liquid fuels, LPG, CNG, and GNB, adapting to the specific needs of our clients. Energigas, solutions that transform lives. Together, we build a trusted energy future.
What would the night look like without stars? Or what would travel be without new places to visit? Life is made of complements. That's why the best airlines from North and South America come together to offer you award-winning service and connect you to over 300 destinations on the continent. Now, when you travel with Delta or TAM Airlines, you can take advantage of SkyMiles benefits and the TAM Pass with more alternatives to discover what complements you. Delta and TAM, destined to unite.
Begin your day with the first magazine of Peru. News, reports, interviews, crime news, and world news. Anniversaries, inspiring stories from deep Peru, entertainment and culture, and all the sports news. Providing the best political analysis from Monday to Saturday, 5 to 10 a.m.
Across the nation on Willits Television, the stars will favor you on PBO.
We started our collaboration with Stanton Chase more than 20 years ago. They have consistently found the right candidate, thanks to their worldwide reach and experience in all sectors, building a team that makes a difference for our global business. Stanton Chase has become a true partner with a lasting partnership. Learn how Stanton Chase can support your business. Contact one of our consultants today. Stanton Chase, your leadership ally.
We invest in the new generations, which is why Repsol is a sponsor of the football elections and supports the U13 and U15 tournaments. Let's explore the future.
Repsol. When we mention cybersecurity and digital transformation, we talk about Claro Empresas, a strategic ally offering Tier 3 certified data centers, a modern facility that protects your information securely. Cybersecurity solutions designed to protect your company's information from cyber attacks. IT solutions to enhance your business processes, enabling you to concentrate on what truly counts, growing your business. Claro Empresas, your ally for cybersecurity and digital transformation.
Join the RPP TV channel and enjoy our programming on Movistar Channel 10 on 3.1 of digital terrestrial television for Lima Metropolitana and Callao, and now on YouTube, and from different regions of the country via the distribution companies Sapin and MIG with their 53 cable operators, or check with the nearest cable operator in your region. Join RPP TV's broadcast. Verify if you are in the coverage zone at www.tvdigitalparatodos.p.
As we predicted, we are happy to have Dr. Pedro Gamio Aita here, who was part of the board under Oliver Stark's leadership, from the state-owned enterprise Petroperu, with whom we will talk about the current situation of uncertainty it finds itself in. That company. Pedro, great to have you on Mining Route. I'm here for you. Well, I have mentioned you as if you were part of the team, and you have formed a part of the directory of Petroperu under the direction of Oliver Stark, who formulated the proposal that all sides thought it was enough, viable. To begin with, Please describe to us what it is that remains or is left as something essential that must go on. Of course, the new direction of Petroperu on that plan.
A roadmap is left regarding the necessity to reorganize the business. It means all that's unnecessary. It is the moment, with the help of an international entity that has rescued state-owned oil companies from insolvency. Top tier, like Ecopetrol, a contest was set to be announced to select from the top 5 options who could accompany the board of the general shareholders meeting in this restructuring. The most productive and profitable units were going to be empowered, seeking alliances with the private sector, but of the highest order of top level, for Petroperu to recover its accounts in the black by the end of A thorough analysis of labor legislation was conducted. Some specialists indicated that an error could happen, like what happened in the 90s. It was believed that the judiciary would not uphold absolute job stability. Still, with absolute job stability, if it becomes an unbreakable barrier, a law would be requested from Congress, as has happened before, to reassign excess administrative staff can be relocated to any public entity where they may be necessary. But Petroperu needs to keep its staff to be a productive and competitive firm and be a reliable entity in the international market.
Not only the administrative staff, let's say operational, that could be considered, but basically that surprise that many Peruvians felt knowing that there were more than 50 departments. That's insane.
If we as a board made an effort to reduce those management positions, that could be done. We were surprised that not long ago, the number of management positions had increased significantly. This has been accomplished. Almost 100 individuals joined the voluntary retirement program. The goal was to keep it and wrap up the study of each productive unit. For example, Conchan, except for one type of asphalt, it is an old refinery. Its future lies in making Conchan a major supply plant in alliance with the private sector, which could enable Petroperu to reclaim market share and has a strategic site. Conchan represents an opportunity. Likewise, regarding the pipeline, Petroperu cannot bear the cost of subsidizing a transport system that could reach $100 million a year. A solution was suggested for Petroperu to be paid its operating costs for the transport of hydrocarbons. If the government wishes to keep the subsidy, there are revolving funds known as CIC that would provide a solution. But Petroperu can no longer be compelled to maintain subsidies that are not competitive and that affect its ability to be a first-rate company.
Pedro, well, in the early hours of September 14th, the government issued an emergency decree offering Petroperu a new financial rescue of $750 million. Tell us a bit about how this money from all Peruvians will be used and what other measures the government has taken regarding the debts incurred by this state entity.
I know it's difficult to address the issue in a country with so many social gaps. One way could be to appraise what was taken from Petroperu for various reasons and align it with its actual value, and set that as a ceiling for the rescue and restructuring of Petroperu. It seems like a sound measure to me. Conditioning the aid on meeting goals to avoid repeating this recurring situation of financial aid, since that could result in an impact problem on national risk, impacting fiscal policy, and an impact on those who acquired the bonds that were issued to finance this investment in the new Talara refinery. In summary, the most effective way to save Petroperu is to establish targets and condition this support, limiting it to what had to pay, for example, in the nationalization of Belco, which got an indemnity from the insurance firm. Petroperu fully covered this, including pensions and indemnities for the living personnel, and the lawsuits lost by the state against various public entities. Petroperu was ordered to pay all of this, or an astonishing amount, over 3 billion souls in IGB for operating in the jungle. It's absurd, but it's real. Petroperu brings oil and petroleum derivatives to the most distant towns, which is why it incurs the IGB tax, since the product obviously originates from the coast, but a legal reform is needed to address this abusive situation.
Which illustrates a point made by the Ministry of Energy and Mines and reiterated by Minister Romulo for a long time. Petroperu has been the petty cash for many public entities. This was almost scandalous when he first took office, you remember? The presidency of the Republic after the fall of the late President Alberto Fujimori, Alejandro Toledo
Remodeled the government palace.
He remodeled the government palace using resources from Petroperu, and a lawsuit was filed against the head of Petroperu in that moment. In other words, madness like this makes us question, with so many existing debts in Petroperu, how will it operate by the end of 2024 with this injection of $750 million? The cash flow will be positive or it won't be positive.
It's definitely oxygen for a patient in intensive care, but if the necessary restructuring measures are not taken, the problem will not be overcome. And that's what needs to be kept in mind. It's essential to restore the corporate culture that Petroperu has had since the International Petroleum Company. Petroperu has had in its history 80% of profits for the country, with only 20% of its management resulting in losses. And this is despite instances like when Petroperu was compelled to sell gasoline for 10 cents a gallon, a scenario that has only happened in Venezuela, and we observe what occurs in Venezuela. That is, Peru needs to respect a public company as Chile does with its hydrocarbons company, or as Colombia does, which also have top-level private partners and safeguards that can currently be established, such as listing on the stock market, at some point even having private partners that complicate things significantly, to select officials not aligned with a process of integrity and technical skill.
Pedro, is it feasible to separate political interests from corruption, from a responsible and transparent handling of Petroperu? And a second question as well, is employing a PMO the optimal solution to start the restructuring of that state entity?
I'll begin with the second question. We're not creating something new. This is how Ecopetrol was saved from a challenging situation. It had been rescued from Napa before. In other words, there are successful experiences in the region. On one side, I believe it's not impossible. We see Colombia is investing abroad through municipal companies and is now responsible for gas distribution. For instance, in Lima, the major shareholders are a state company from Bogota's municipality, from the municipality of Medellin. It's impressive how, when a corporate culture is respected and a series of legal safeguards are put in place, make it possible to engage private capital and present outcomes. But this necessitates that the political system set forth what barriers must be in place to stop history from repeating itself, which would be awful.
Sure, Pedro. Thank you very much, as always, for your participation here on Rumbo Minero and for providing more insight on this issue that has us really concerned and in a sea of uncertainty still regarding the situation with Petroperu. I hope we can rely on you next time and keep talking about this. Thank you. Thank you. It was Pedro Gamio Aita, who belongs or was part of the board led by Oliver, representing the Ministry of Economy, if an automated pause comes back. If Miguel, now is the time to present the edition of Rumbo Minero the most important magazine in this business sector that brings all the relevant information about Expomina in 2024, the successful mining event, tech gathering, and also business meetings, seminars, conversations that have sparked a lot of interest from September 11 to 13. You can also access this edition for free via www.rambominero.p. You already know Rambo Minero, the specialized magazine for mining for all of you. Well, reaching at the program's end, we must reflect on what Pedro Gamio Aita said here, who was part of the board that was appointed by Mr. Oliver Starr, representing the Ministry of Economy and Finance, especially a good question you asked about the levels of politicization that may exist in the company, which it has experienced throughout its history.
Whatever the government's decision regarding the restructuring of Petroperu, it must set aside political interests and, above all, eradicate corruption that unfortunately has been affecting that state entity for many years.
We should also be cautious about private management because the proposal, as Pedro Gamio mentioned, from Oliver Starr or the board led by Oliver Starr was specifically a PMO that you inquired about. And the need for us to have people truly with a vision and a well-developed awareness of how to sustain a state enterprise of this magnitude. Hopefully that can be fulfilled. Well, we've arrived at the end of Rumbo Minero. I am Cesar Campos. We were with Miguel Saval in charge of the segment Don't Move because Peru Construy is on the way.